Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're so glad you join us. Today, we have an exciting agenda planned for you. We will be diving into the benefits of HR tech, specifically how it boosts efficiency, productivity, and engagement, not just in HR, but across the whole organization. So before we get started, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. Audio and video. If you can hear me and see the slides, please give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you encounter any kind of technical issues, don't hesitate to reach out in the chat. In terms of questions, we want this to be an interactive session, so please feel free to ask any questions at any time during the Q&A, in the Q&A chat box. We try to answer the questions during the sessions. If we miss some of them, we will definitely follow up with you after the session as well. And also, this webinar is being recorded. We will send out the recording along with any kind of resources that are shared today after the session as well. So now let's dive in. By the way of introduction, my name is Sabrina. I'm a customer success manager at HiBob, your host for the session as well. And as a fact, I have implemented Bob at my previous company as well. So more than 3 years later, I'm still hanging around the Bob platform. So that means if you enter the world of Bob, you will never leave the world of Bob. I will be joined by two incredible, smart and engaging individuals. So we welcome Ellie Miller, Chief People Officer at Leonardo.Ai, who has not only implemented Bob once, she actually implemented Bob already twice. So as I said, if you enter the world of Bob, you will never leave. And then we have also Nick Phillipson, our sales engineer, who has demoed a lot of scenarios to customers, how you can use Bob to suit your business needs. So do we count that as multiple Bob implementations? Probably. Before we jump to Ellie questioning her inside out, I would like to know why you have joined this webinar. So there's a poll popping up now, and I will give you less than a minute to answer it. So the poll says, what's your main objective for attending today's webinar? And some of you are already answering it: to learn more about the benefits of HR tech, to hear from Ellie's experience in implementing HR tech, or to catch the Bob demo. I think most of you have already answered it. Thanks a lot for that. Again, thank you for being here. And I've said it already before, let's dive in, but now we are actually getting started. And we welcome Ellie Miller to the stage.
Thank you so much.
So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and also your current role?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Ellie. You've heard my name a few times now, but a bit about me and my role. I moved to Australia just over a year ago now, and in moving had to find a new role, which took me to Leonardo.AI. We're an AI image generation company. The company itself is less than 2 years old, and I joined as the first non-founder exec in the company to really help establish our people team and help us with scaling challenges that come with being a small startup going through huge growth. So I'm the Chief People Officer there.
Amazing. You've just mentioned you were actually the first person hired in the people and culture team and like in the non-executive team as well. Take us back to the time. What were your top priorities when you actually joined the company?
Of course. So apart from general onboarding stuff that we all know and love, kind of getting to know the context of the company, the culture, the team, we were very, very green as a people function. So our CFO had been looking after people and had been doing a lovely job. But people existed on a spreadsheet, and a spreadsheet that wasn't even 100% accurate, I must say. So one of my first priorities, not just because we're on this webinar and we're going to talk about HiBob, truly was to think about the infrastructure of my HR tech, especially knowing that we have people across multiple countries, we have people who are very tech forward, and so we wanted to bring our people function into the modern day and establish what that structure would look like. And for me, it was really about automating administrative tasks and building an employee experience where I could send the right messages at the right time. Outside of that immediate priority to sort my systems out, I was also thinking about the kind of lens through which we were at in terms of size and stage. So a real priority for me was increasing the diversity of our team. Being in AI, it leans heavily male. I'm sure there'll be lots of people on the webinar today who might come from an engineering heavy culture and face similar challenges, but also joining as the first people person, joining a company that was less than a year old at the time. I really needed to build a performance culture and make sure that we had the right building blocks as we entered our next level of scale.
That seemed like a lot going on for like during the time when you even start just like onboarding yourself. But because you've implemented Bob, obviously, not only once, twice, as I said before, can you tell us a little bit like how you actually heard about Bob or how you met Bob for the first time?
Of course. So I actually joined a company that had HiBob. So that was Depop in the UK, and they were already using it. I think they'd implemented it at around 200 people, and it was really, really well loved there. So the team had done a great job of setting it up. What I did was kind of help bring that into what could the next use of the platform look like. And I remember after joining, kind of being really nosy around what were all the different settings that I could access? How could I have a play around and see, as a fresh pair of eyes, is there anything more that I can bring to our implementation of HiBob?
Amazing. And you can always build the system as well. So
That's
I can
right.
see how you've actually looked with your fresh eyes to actually make some changes as well. Um, when choosing an HR tech platform, it takes obviously a lot of research looking into like the pros and the cons and also like what's right for your organization because every system is different, obviously.
Mhm.
What do you think are the key considerations for HR leaders that they must think about to choose the right tool, in your opinion?
I think this is a great question and something that probably we don't get enough opportunity to talk about in the HR space. I come from working in technology companies, so something that's a key consideration for me personally is I'm working with people who are clearly technically savvy to some degree. And what's important for me as the leader is to establish myself as someone who understands what great tech looks like, and the tech that we choose is really a reflection of that decision making. So for me, it's one of the biggest signals that I can give around my understanding of how to make the most of software that I'm picking. And it's also a real pain to move HRIS. Obviously, HiBob make that nice and easy, but we don't want to do it frequently. So it's the decision that we want to feel really great about. So what am I looking at when I'm thinking about HRIS? I'm obviously thinking about the context of the size and stage of the company and kind of where it's at in terms of headcount. And I'm thinking about the ability, the technical capability of that platform to service my needs. So At Leo, for example, we had a very green people function, as I said. What I mean by green is we don't have all of this data structure that we need to consider because it's still being built out. So in that scenario, Bob becomes a way for me to create norms around data structures. But in other companies, it might be you've got really complex kind of department cost codes, things that need to work together in order for your HRIS to speak to other systems. And that brings me on to another thing that is so important to me when I'm picking tech, is that it can integrate really nicely and seamlessly with the rest of my tech stack. And not only my tech stack, although I'm thinking selfishly about the people team, I'm thinking also about how can I partner with some of the other functions across the company that need this same data. And I always see HiBob and my HRIS being the epicenter of that information. So here I'm thinking about IT and can we automate some of that onboarding journey to make it more seamless for people? And then I'm also thinking about finance. You may use the payroll functionality within HiBob, but even if you don't, having that really clear capability and data structure to automate lots of that system connection means that you can get a great technical experience. I think the technical experience is what then leads to a great user experience on the front end. Of course, you'll be evaluating, does the design appeal to you? Can you make it look like it's in your brand? Is it something that identifies with you in terms of visuals? But really, I think the visuals are a surface level and not to be mistaken for what's under the hood. How much frustration are your employees, your managers, and your kind of stakeholders going to feel when they're in this system and using it? The final thing I'd mention is any system that I'm looking at, the reporting has to be really flexible because I love data. So again, as a people person in a tech company, I see it as imperative that I'm really forward with what my data looks like and can speak to it very regularly. I need a system that can create the structure for me, can automate it, and ideally dashboard that data for me so that I can spend my time on the strategic side of what does this data mean and what are we going to do next, rather than trying to get the data out in the first place.
Well, you touched on a lot of the data and analytics feature already, how much you love it. Do you have also like an example in terms of like, did it solve any kind of like challenges, or could you address any challenges even like to like the C-level management or something like that to actually prove your point?
I really like to use the analytics feature. I guess there's kind of there's analytics and then there's dashboarding. So one of the areas where I spend most time doing reporting is on the diversity of our company. I shared at the start that it's a real priority for us. I really like that you can use analytics to get a picture of how are things looking across the company, but you can also drill down into specifically, I will be looking at our engineering and AI department where we lean most male in terms of just demographic data in the industry. So it helps me to tell a story to the rest of my executive team when we're in that executive meeting around what progress have we made, what does the next level of progress look like, and you can create a custom DEI dashboard directly within HiBob. So I can see what percentage of new hires were identifying as women or female, and I can start to tell that story of how much are we closing that gender gap. And in future, we'll want to use it for things like gender pay gap analysis. I use it for manager to employee ratios to make sure we're hiring at the right levels for kind of, I guess, span of control, to use a HR word, but number of direct reports. And it gives me really rich insights to help people understand the design of our company and how the design of the company is growing and changing. You know, when you're making one hire at a time, it doesn't feel so tangible. But when you have this rich data to look at, it can be a really useful way of helping to guide what you should do next.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially just thinking about next year when it comes to WeChat reporting for everyone who is based in Australia,
Right.
you actually have something to start with.
That's right.
You've also mentioned that in terms of like automation, that you actually have your IT team involved or your finance team a bit. Do you get it actually that people are coming to you now and say, hey, can we have that in the system? And can you implement this and that?
All the time. That's actually one of the things that I'm like, God, why did I do this? But it's actually saves me a bunch of time to automate it for them because it means none of us are doing manual work. And I can delegate access within HiBob. So, for example, we're now using HiBob for something really exciting to HR people, asset management. So we've created a custom data table within people's HiBob profiles. I can then delegate access to our IT manager, Paul. So I can create the structure for him, but say, I'm not going to maintain this data for you. I'm going to make it possible for you to input it into HiBob. And then I can automate all of the reports you need to see at any time, what does your asset management picture look like? And that's just one example, but it really has helped me to work more collaboratively with teams that within people, finance, IT, we're always asking each other for something. So the more I can do to minimize those asks and make things self-service for other teams means they can do their job better too.
We love a bit of delegation as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
In terms of like, obviously you've fully implemented Bob here in Australia and
Yes.
changed processes back in the UK. What was your experience in terms of like building and implementing the Bob platform from scratch?
I found it really seamless. Obviously, I'd come into it having used it before, but there'd been a big gap because that prior company had been acquired and we had to change HRIS. Let me tell you, changing away from HiBob was painful. And I had a 20-person team who regularly would say, I really want to use HiBob again, please. So having being back in the decision maker seat and having a chance to start afresh meant that I got a chance to set up HiBob exactly how I want it. I found it really easy just to kind of, there was a clear onboarding flow that I could follow, but I'm naturally quite curious. So in between those sessions, I'll be going in and really proactively starting to think about not only what did the settings say, but what am I trying to get out of it? Ultimately, HiBob is going to always recommend some best practice and some structures for you. But once you're familiar with the kind of settings that are available to you, you can really take that quite far. And so for me, it was about playing around, being really curious, testing things out and just seeing what worked how I expected or not. And I did reach out to the support team a couple of times if I got stuck or perhaps something worked a certain way 3 years ago and I'm kind of overly assuming that nothing will have changed in 3 years. And of course it has, and lots of improvements get made over time. And they're really responsive, really able to help unblock you in that onboarding journey. So it worked great.
Amazing. Bob has also like different kind of models that customers can choose from to actually have their business needs sorted, basically. And I know you are using the talent model. So
Yeah.
how did like performance reviews in Bob supported your organization?
What I loved about using Bob and in general about the way that we built the system to support our process is instead of rolling out a policy and a process over here and having the system as a way to deliver it, kind of used Bob as central to that message of how we're going to implement performance reviews for the first time at Leo. So we've utilized the performance cycle and made sure that we're using all of the amazing functionality and building out custom forms. So we really did use almost every setting available to us to highly customize what does our first performance review need to look like. And for example, it wasn't just question, text box, question, text box. We asked people to give us a score out of 5 on how their well-being is before they enter into writing that review. And HiBob made that really seamless to actually make happen. And I can even include in the description field kind of links to other places. So I actually allowed people to head straight into the goal setting side of HiBob as the managers are starting to kind of write down their thoughts. So it's just highly, highly integrated into how we think about performance at Leo, rather than something that feels completely separate.
That sounds great. And yeah, everything in one place makes it obviously also easier for managers to not go through different kind of systems and so on.
That's right.
Um, in terms of like strategic objectives, because we're looking towards the end of the year. It's not even like 2 months, and we're already like in 2025. So time is flying, as every year we say. So what are your strategic objectives for next year that you want to challenge yourself and challenge the platform in terms of Bob?
So we're actually already thinking about 2025, and one of our big goals is we'll be rolling out OKRs across the company. So we currently have 2 or 3 of our departments trialing OKRs this side of the year. And again, part of that has been helping them to learn the functionality that is so rich around goal setting in HiBob. So you can set company goals, department goals, and individual goals, but they all ladder up to each other. So that will be a huge way that we can really take the next step in terms of managing performance and giving people clear expectations. And then a lot of our focus next year will be, we've got lots of people who are coming up to their year, 18 months, 2 years, who are going to want to know what growth looks like for them. So again, deepening that connection to that talent module, making sure that we are building people's learning journeys and growth journeys where they can see a really clear story in their HiBob records of all of those performance conversations, those goals that they've set. So it's going to really help us next year with those goals.
Amazing. Yeah, lots to do, lots to set up, lots to train
Always.
people as well. Um, well, I wish you all the best for that. Well, thanks a lot for being here, for obviously sharing your
Cool.
insights. Congratulations for all your achievements so far as well over the
Thank
last
you.
1.5 years with Leo as well. It's great to hear success stories from you, from our customers. I also saw there were a few hands being raised. We will have Ellie coming back later on for a little bit of a Q&A. But we will jump into a little bit of a sneak peek first to see how does the Bob platform look like. And hence, I'm actually going to hand over to Nick, who has joined us now.
Thank you, Sabrina, and let me just go and share my screen. So thanks so much to Ellie for her insight. Fascinating to hear your thoughts there, Ellie, and we look forward to answering a couple of questions a little bit later on. So hi, everybody. My name's Nick. I'm about to show you our Bob platform. So before I do that, we do have a, whoops, let me just come back to it, another poll. We'll start sharing my slideshow again. So we have another quick poll for you, and we just want to understand if you currently have any HR software in place. So you'll see that pop up on screen. Feel free to answer with the 3 answers there, whether you're happy with your HRIS, you're keen to look at our Bob platform, or you might be looking at changing in the near future. So there'll be a quick poll there, and we'll just give you a little moment to answer that for us. Whilst you are answering, I'm just going to go to the next slide, and we will come in. And just a little bit about me. So I'm one of the sales engineers. I'm based in Sydney, but I am a Kiwi, and I have done a lot of HR and payroll related software demonstrations over my career. So I'll be showing you the Bob platform today. A little bit about HiBob. So this is a bit about our company. We were founded in 2015. We have an ever-growing workforce that's actually probably up over about 1,000 now, so definitely growing. Over 4,000 customers, including plenty across Australia, New Zealand, and around the Asia-Pacific region. And we're really proud of our customer retention statistics as well. So our mission here, we really want to help companies that have your people first strategies to thrive through change, uncertainty, and the new normals. And we've really designed our platform to do that. So I'm going to be showing you the platform, some functionality. We are a modular system. So we have our Bob Core HR module, but then you can bolt on different modular components, and you'll get a quick look at all of these today as we go. And as Ellie mentioned, one of the key things for her is integration capability, and we are very flexible with our integrations. So whether it's other HR software tools you use, provisioning, single sign-on, BI tools, all those types of things, we've got lots of integration options there. Now, let's go and show you our Bob platform. So this is a Bob instance here. So it's all cloud-based, and you can see here we have an engaging and intuitive homepage here for your employees to access. The modular components can be accessed from the menu bar up here. Also, we have in-system help for all your staff and easy search and navigation. Coming down, the homepage will feature things like to-do lists, quick actions. We also have things like internal communications tools. We can come down and show things like public holidays, key events like birthdays, anniversaries, new joiners. We also have engagement tools like polls and a range of recognition tools as well. And you can choose which features you utilize in our platform and when. System will be accessible on mobile devices. We have a dedicated mobile app, including push notifications on those mobiles. And our integration capabilities also allow us to meet your employees in the flow of work. Here, for example, is a bit of a look at our Slack integration, and we also have integration with Teams as well. Now, when we work with you with the implementation, we'll train you up on how to utilize the platform. And one of the key things you'll be able to do is brand it up around your company branding. You will also be able to build in all of the different locations that you operate in, whether it's in one country, but we can absolutely support multinational operations, including things like date formats, currencies, and time zones. The system is very configurable, and our implementation team will teach you on how to build out our data management, including your abilities here to create your own custom fields to capture information, such as those company assets that Ali mentioned. Also, we have bulk import tools, and these are used as part of the implementation, data and documents, but you'll have these ongoing. These are part of your administration rights. Another optional component that's popular with our customers is a testing sandbox. So we can take a copy of your primary instance there, and you can do your HR testing in that sandbox if you would like. Now, once we get your people into the system, we will have tools like an employee directory. What you can see and do in the platform is based around really granular permissioning. Here I'm actually looking at from an PNC lens, and I've got tools like being able to go and bulk assign actions and activities from this environment too. Showing you an employee profile here. So we have dynamic employee profiles that will house all the key information on your staff that you need. We have tools such as recognition features. We'll be able to access the employees' activities. They can come and access their profiles, do self-service. Managers can access their team member profiles, run their own reports, and we can even allow them to trigger off process workflows like promotions and terminations. But you will be able to come and view your employee timelines. We track current and historical information. And here you'll be able to house whatever you want against these profiles. So personal information, employment, work-related information. We can help set up payroll utilizing our integration capabilities as well. And here, this is actually one of those company asset sections, which is similar to what Ali has set up in the system too. Also, being able to store key things, training records, other compliance-related information, and your gender reporting statistics, whether you're in Australia and the scheme, voluntary scheme is coming into New Zealand in the next few years. So being able to house and report around those. Your staff will be able to be visualized in dynamic org charts. You can come and easily navigate around the org chart, cut and filter this, do historical org chart reporting, or also export out the org chart when you need. Coming across to our workforce planning module. So this incorporates a position management concept to the system. So we can have positions in the platform with all of your key position information, and also allow authorized staff to request for new positions to be added. And we have approval process workflows in our platform. The workforce planning module will also include dedicated headcount planning events. So no more needing to do these on spreadsheets. You can allocate out budgets and do your headcount planning, including the ability to request for those positions. And these are all collaborative environments. Once you've done your planning or added positions, we can then go and manage recruitment in our Bob hiring module. So an integrated applicant tracking system where you'll be able to go and configure this around your recruitment processes. We will have environments for you to easily go and post out your job ads. including to thousands of different job boards. You'll also have things like employee referral programs. We can work with your agencies as well, so promoting jobs to agencies, and we'll provide you internal and also external job boards. So here, for example, this can be accessed via your website, really easy candidate experience to come and apply for roles. You can capture everything you need and differ per role, and we can also do things like having auto-filtering screening questions with automatic rejection notification to help you filter out candidates. And those candidates, when they apply, will get a self-service environment here where they can come and access their applications, interview scheduling, and those types of things. So coming back to this screen, once the candidates come in, you'll have easy environments to manage their applications, seeing those resumes on screen, and you can push them through stages that you configure in the platform, so building out your own candidate pipelines. We will provide you with easy tools to schedule your interviews, including digital calendar invites, webinar links if required, and you can tag in appropriate stakeholders. And processes like interviews and screening are also supported by configurable evaluation guides for best practice questions and score calculation. Now, once those candidates have been gone through the process, we'll also be able to go and generate them job offers. So just coming over to the screen here, and we'll just bring up a job offer for you. So we'll just load this one up. So basically inbuilt letter generation within the platform, and we can send these out to your candidates who can then go and accept those offers. Now, once those offers have been accepted, we can then go, utilizing our integrated modular components, invite your new starters to a dedicated new starter portal before their start date. So branded notifications going out of the platform, and here a new starter coming in and working through an onboarding journey before their start date. So you can configure these with your own welcome messages. We can allow your new starters to build out their profile from that candidate standpoint, providing with you with all of that key information you need, personal information, DEI, emergency contacts. We can allow your new starters to personalize their profiles, also provide you with things like financial information with integration through to payroll and ongoing self-service, but also compliance-related information as well. And the onboarding experience is all accessible on the desktop and mobile. If I just come back to it, I'll show you a couple more key screens. Here, we can also provide things like documents, policies to be acknowledged and uploaded, and then also a nice friendly welcome to the team. So whilst this is all happening, we are delegating out tasks in the back end of the system, so helping your new starters get set up. So we can send out tasks in the system for actioning, but also to tools we can log tickets and schedule calendar invites as well, utilizing our flexible and dynamic task management capabilities. Once your new starters have started, we can provide a range of self-service tools, including the ability to request for leave, so configurable leave policies, and you can see here leave calendars and approval processes. And as we mentioned, integration options through to payroll. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. Also, if you need to track time for employees, our time and attendance module allows timesheets to be submitted for payroll purposes, or if you need to track projects, we can also do project related time tracking as well, and approval processes around those. I mentioned just before that we have options to integrate through to payroll platforms. Our Payroll Hub module has a range of integration capabilities with payroll systems, and we can actually check the data and have it all validated before it gets pushed through automatically to payroll. So here, actually looking at our levers for this pay cycle before they go across to payroll. Another modular option that we have as well is also Your Voice tool. So this is an anonymized grievance management and whistleblower tool. Your staff can anonymously log complaints, and you'll have a case management environment here to help investigate those and communicate with that staff member. Coming across to, I'm going to show you another employee here. So Aaron here has got some learning from our new learning module. This will allow you to build training courses into the platform, individual courses. You can also build learning pathways or leverage off a range of content integrations with providers such as Go1, LinkedIn Learning, and Udemy. Once courses are created, they can be assigned to staff automatically. We have self-enrollment libraries, or you can manually assign your training to staff, including in bulk. They'll be able to easily come and access those courses and work through the components. Here, for example, there's an assessment. And again, all available on the mobile app alongside the desktop environment. Our talent module includes survey capabilities, so we can have employee lifecycle surveys, new starter surveys, exit surveys, sent to the employee automatically, or you can assign whenever you need. But we also have company surveys. So a range of best practice templates, and your staff can come and fill those out anonymously, or you can build your own surveys, and there's a range of reporting around these. Our talent module also features a one-on-one management tool. So one-on-one meetings can be scheduled automatically or manually between employees and managers, and they can have agenda points to work through, areas to store those notes. We send out digital calendar invites, and these records are all saved in the system for future reference, for example, in performance conversations. Ellie touched on the fact that the Leonardo.AI team utilizes our goal management capabilities. Here, for example, is a goal that an employee is being set. So flexible goal management, where this one's aligned to a company goal. And throughout the year, staff can be coming and checking in on progress of those goals. Also collaborative environments where we can come and tag people in and also track those changes and mark them off once they're complete. Goals can then be surfaced in these flexible performance reviews. So as Ali mentioned, the review templates, you can configure them with your own sections and wording. And we have a range of different features, including being able to view employee self-reviews alongside manager reviews. And we've just released a new calibration tool in the last week or two. So just showing you how the platform constantly evolves. Now, I'll just come back to my HR user over here, and we will just finish off the demonstration showing you a range of that reporting that Ali touched on. So our system does include the visual analytics dashboards. Here, for example, I have a company growth dashboard, and you can go and cut and filter and export out the charts and even dive into them and get trend insights as well. This is the DEI dashboard that Ali mentioned. So being able to come in and analyze your key age, gender, ethnicity metrics. And utilizing this tool, you can actually go and set gap tracking targets and see how you're going with that and some strategic opportunities. We have a custom reporting capabilities. You can easily go and build reports from scratch or leverage off templates that we have. So here, just creating a staff list. And once reports are saved, you can cut and filter, schedule, export, and even look at integrating them to other tools if you need. And just showing you here a few different examples of our reporting, assist you with the compliance side of things, staff with visas in this instance, and we have tools to help manage expiry dates, notifications, and tasks. And also here, gender reporting. So for Australian customers, being able to support you with your reporting, and as I mentioned earlier, for New Zealand customers, once you have your voluntary gender scheme in place, being able to save and easily export those gender statistics once you need to do your submissions. So that is a quick look, very high-level look at our Bob platform. We will be more than happy to give you a more detailed demonstration contextualized to your organization if you would like. Feel free to reach out to our team. But for now, though, we have a few minutes left for some Q&A. So I'm going to welcome Ellie back, and we're just going to have a little bit of a look at some of the questions that have come through. So I will just bring Ellie back. Hi there, Ellie. Welcome back to the webinar. So, Ellie, I do have a question here just around the implementation timeframe. So, how long did you find it took to set up the Bob instance?
So, bear in mind at Leo, we had no existing data to transfer from a different HRIS. So think things like time off records. We did have a payroll system 0 that was being used to record time off, and I did upload that information. But in answer to your question, with a very simple data set and only about 80 employees at that point in time, really, we could have launched within 3 weeks. We did another test and kind of did the full 4-week implementation. And then we launched at the end of week 4 and really 0 teething issues. That was with trying to perfect lots of things before we went live rather than kind of building as we go.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that, Ellie. I've had a couple of questions come up in the Q&A. One is around, I think it's Kesuke has asked here, can we know the biggest reason why customers choose hire Bob? Now, from my take, one of the key reasons is that we provide a really engaging and intuitive and modern platform. So it's not difficult for your employees and managers to utilize it. And this is the key aspect here. Once they're utilizing it, you are getting more value out of it from a P&C lens. Also from the feedback I've received, things like the data management and reporting aspects, and also the flexible workflow configuration, and that ability to take the modular components and really build out with your suite. I might actually ask you, Ellie, what probably from your take, the key reasons why your businesses that you've worked with chose HiBob?
Definitely its appropriateness for not only this size and stage, but although I've implemented it at relatively smaller sizes, it's not because it's got small company kind of capability. It has been about having a fit for purpose platform where I can add in functionality as we scale, but also hide functionality until we need it. So it can appear very simple for people's first time using it, and I can grow their level of confidence using all of the different areas, which was important. So to me, it's been really fit for purpose at just growing with us and helping to support that employee experience, including nuances. So, for example, I've got a ton of employees in Australia, but across the globe, and I found that other platforms can be really US focused or can be really fixed in workflows that are around country norms. Here I can create a truly local experience for my employees based on where they are, which was super important.
Yeah, great. And thanks for that, Ellie. Another question that I can partially ask, but I might get your take as well. So does HiBob support the data transfer from an existing HRIS, or does the customer have to do that by themselves? So I'll start the first piece here in terms of our implementation process is guided by local implementation managers, and they'll work with you around the data that we need in the system, and we do have data import templates, but you will need to extract the data out of the platform. So we can absolutely help and guide you around the information that we need, but it is a collaborative process. So we've got our local implementation managers. We also have a wide partner network that can support this. And Ellie, maybe I can get your take there on just around the data input and the implementation side, how that was supported by the HiBob team.
Yeah, I'd say I found the platform incredibly easy to do data transfer. So, for example, lots of bulk uploads, as you would call them, of data require you to have what's called a unique identifier. Here, we didn't even have so much as a payroll ID. And so HiBob really helped me to work around that. We actually used work email as a unique identifier, and it was completely seamless. But I found the platform incredibly easy to use, and where I was getting any errors, it was more to do with the completeness of my starting data set. And so I could then reach out to the implementation team, kind of ask for their advice on what to do next. But overall, found it a very smooth experience and love using the bulk upload tool even now.
Great. And we've probably got time for one last question here. So in terms of, so the question is, what modules did you go live with, Ellie? Just the core HR module or additional modules like the hiring module, our talent module, which has performance? I will start by just saying that our system is modular. The one mandatory module is the core HR module, because that's where all your employees will live. So we get that one set up, but then you can choose what other modules you use. So we'll pass it to you, Ellie, just to let the audience know what you started with.
So we started with core HR and talent, and that's really a reflection of the fact that it was the company's first ever HR system and wanting to focus time on really building out those modules to be the best they can be. Even in today's session, I've seen functionality that has been launched even since we implemented HiBob. So I'd say there's always kind of more you can get from HiBob as a platform. And the more that you can, I guess, deepen the use of HiBob, because it all is connected to the other modules, the more seamlessly you can create workflows and automation across all of those modules. And we are certainly doing that for talent.
Great, thanks, Ellie. Well, we've got a flurry of questions, but unfortunately we are heading on time now. We will make sure that we get those questions individually answered to everybody who didn't get a chance to get them answered. Ellie, I want to say a massive thank you for joining the webinar today and sharing your insight and your extensive P&C expertise, but also how you've utilised the Bob platform in both the organisations that you have used it. So we will wrap up now. We're heading on time. To everybody who has attended, thank you so much for making the time today. As I say, if you would like to learn more about HiBob and the Bob platform, feel free to reach out and we will be in touch for those who answered questions. Thanks again.